Now 1 year ago, okay, maybe it was more around 2, but 2 years ago I bought this 190E and it was for sale in the middle of COVID and it had one owner and it was so cheap that I couldn't say no. The reason it was cheap is that it needed a timing chain. Now I've done timing belts and timing chains on cars before, so I didn't really see an issue with it at all, so I went up and got it that night. After bringing the car home, I realised that I potentially might have made a massive mistake because you cannot do timing chains on those engines without thousands of pounds worth of Mercedes specialist tools. So I was left in a very tricky situation of what the hell to do with this car. Now I learned that day to never trust anybody on the internet, especially when it comes to engine swaps, because ideally nobody really knows what the hell we're talking about. So like I'm pretty sure we've all done with our cars, we go on Google and we search something similar to this, and everywhere kept popping up this word M111. Now the M111 is an engine which is a 2.3 supercharged and it's out the SLK and CLK 230s. Now every single person on the internet was telling me how easy this engine swap is and how you can have it done in a few weeks. So for some reason, next thing I know, I was at Copart buying an SLK 230 to rip the engine out of. Now Rusty Autos actually offered to help as this was my first ever engine swap and they were amazing. And everything was going super swimmingly, getting the engine out and prepping it to go in the 190E. And then we started running into lots of issues, and this is ultimately why this build took so long, and there were 3 main reasons. Number 1 is that we were trying to convert it to a manual gearbox. Now all the people on the forums will tell you this is easy, trust me, it is not. You have to machine out the flywheel, machine out the crank, use different custom bearings, it is a nightmare. And to make this even worse, Mercedes will not cross-reference or quote you using part numbers, so trying to find the things that you need is almost impossible. But nonetheless, after months and months of research and asking people in the forums and just trying to find some information, we managed to get the gearbox to work with the engine and we managed to get it in the car. And then this is where we come and find the other 2 problems. There are 2 key people on the 190E forum who specialise in this swap. One of them makes the engine loom and one of them makes the engine mounts. So after being instructed by the person who said he was going to make me a loom and we agreed a price on the loom, we removed the original loom from the SLK, and this is where he decided to just ignore me and he never replied to me ever since. And it was a similar story with the engine mounts. The person who makes the engine mounts decided to just not want to make the engine mounts anymore, and I was left in a struggle where nobody else makes them. Extremely luckily, this guy here wanted to help and he had a set of engine mounts that he wasn't using, so we managed to get them off him, and without him we would have honestly been really stuck. I don't want to chat too much shit about people on the 190E forum because a lot of them did really help me, but when you're promised key things before a swap and then you're mid-swap and those people don't deliver them, it is really annoying. Now although the engine was in, we couldn't get the car running because I had no one to make me a loom. Now this is William Pittner, he is an absolute legend and I will be forever grateful for him because without him this car wouldn't be running. We actually had to fly him in from Croatia to wire up the 190 because he's one of the only people who knows how to do it. Now there was many times down the line I really almost gave up with this build and I honestly never thought it would be running, but today we are here and we finally got 2 more tiny jobs to do before we can get it MOT'd and take it on a long drive after 2 years of pain, stress and just pure disappointment on my end. So it's all good and running and braking and driving really well, but there's just a couple of issues that I know will make it fail on an MOT, so we're going to have to sort those first and foremost, and I'm not looking forward to it because I removed the part in the last video and it took me over an hour just to get a track rod end off because it's been sitting for that long. Now the other problem I found is that there is a slight play on this wheel bearing on this side. Now this would be a pain of a job, but luckily with an old car like this, there's a potential way we can fix that play without actually having to strip the wheel bearing down, but we'll show you that in a little bit. Now in the end of the last video we spent around 2 hours just trying to get off the trap rod end because there was slight play in it. Luckily GSF could get some trap rod ends, so all we got to do now is just put the other end in. when you go to an MOT, the garage, the main thing to check if anything is wrong on a wheel or if the bushings out or anything is they literally will do side to side. Side to side usually indicates something wrong on the steering, and up and down usually means something's wrong on like an arm or a bush or something like the wheel bearing. So the best way to do that would be to wiggle the wheel like this and go and have a look behind and see what's actually moving and what's actually you can do by looking or feeling, and you usually be able to see playing a bush. Now there's only really one lower arm on this. It's a really simple suspension setup, and that seems solid. So this only indicates one more thing, and it has to be the wheel bearing. These are actually, I don't want to say adjustable, but you have to tighten them up as if you're tightening a trailer brake. You have to do it manually. You have to tighten it up, see if the wheel moves, tighten it up, see if the wheels, and you go to a point where the wheel can't move, you knock it off, and then you tighten it back up again. So it's actually adjustable. So what might be the issue is that that bearing might not just be tight enough. This car has not been on the road for at least 5 years, and that's what could be the issue. So we're gonna take the wheel off, tighten that bearing, and see if that stops our play. See here that this bearing now will literally just pop out. So that is one part of the wheel bearing. So the only thing that holds this in is this little thing here, and that will determine how much play the bearing has got. So if obviously this isn't tight, it's going to move around in that race. So we're going to thread this back on, and we want to find a sweet spot between not having any play in the wheel and having this wheel spin freely enough. So it's going to be a little bit of a balancing act of coming on and off with the wheel and checking the play and checking it's not too tight, that the bearing isn't actually spinning. Now the best way to tighten this is with a pair of grips like this. You want it tight enough that the wheel's bearing's got no play, but not too tight that the wheel doesn't spin freely. And that play's gone. So the play's gone and the wheel spins freely. Yes! And then tightening the locking collar will just make sure nothing moves around after this. And once you're done, you can put back the cap on. What? So that is the two jobs that we needed to do that have been changed. I actually did the exact same to this side. This side wasn't as bad, but I just presumed since that side probably wasn't as tight, this side's probably done the same. So we've done the same for this side. We don't have that side-to-side play anymore from this side, so that trap rod has fixed that issue. But I still think it might make the clunking noise when turning left to right. Now here's a video of that clicking noise if you can't remember what it was. The only thing is, when I'm turning, there's a bit of a click on the steering. You might be able to hear it. There, hear that? I did research this on the forums, and a lot of people who ran into this issue saying that they hadn't had the power steering pump bled properly. Now that makes sense because that's the only thing that we've had off on this engine. So I'm going to start the car up and just do some more cycles bleeding through that power steering pump. So to bleed out the power steering, all we're going to do is take the power steering reservoir cap off, and we're going to start the engine and just keep turning the wheel all the way to the left and all the way to the right. This will actually keep recycling the fluid through the pump and through the reservoir and hopefully push out any air that might be trapped. Now the one thing left to do, it's not really that big of a problem, but because we've actually given it our own screen wash bottle, which is mounted over there, the original one used to be mounted here. Obviously we can't use that because the air filters are in the way. So I found the one plug which isn't being plugged into anything, and it's this. And I'm hoping that this is my my low screen wash warning. We're never really going to get it to work because we've got a whole new system. So right now it's just a light on the dash and it's annoying. So I'm going to see if this is definitely the low screen wash sensor wiring. And what we're going to do is we're going to bridge it together using a paperclip. Now once that paperclip's in there, it should complete the circuit and therefore turn my light off. So let's see if this is going to work. No, so the low screen wash is still on, so either the paperclip isn't making contact or that's the wrong sensor. Now I tried looking absolutely everywhere in that corner for another sensor that's unplugged, and I genuinely cannot find one. I have no idea where that screen wash level sensor is, so I'm just forgetting about it for now because I'm getting too excited about taking this car on its first ever drive. So we need to put some plates on. Now this is always a monumental part of the build, putting on the reg plates, because it means you're finally ready to take a car on a drive. And for some big builds that I do, this is a big moment. So huge thank you to Reg Plate King for supplying these plates. I just wanted some standard ones. I didn't want any 4D ones or anything like that. It's an old car, I wanted it to look classy, but there are some there is a discount code on the screen now if you want to use Reg Plate Kings. They're legends. Now I noticed it's a little bit wet under here as well. It's actually been dripping on the floor a little bit. And I was a little bit worried, but I've just come to the gearbox sump and it is really wet around the sump plug, and it was literally hand tight. So I've literally just nipped it up. It's a HW14, and hopefully that quits out. So I'm going to clean all this underneath with some brake cleaner so it looks nice and pretty for the MOT. Now we're going to take a moment here just to basically enjoy it, because this is the last thing that I need to do before we put it through its MOT and go for a nice long drive and probably sell it. And I hate to say this, but I really did like this car at one point. I loved this car and I was really excited for this car, and I still am. I'm excited to drive it, but after a while you kind of just start losing hope in things like this, and I'd be lying if I said that during this long process I haven't lost a little bit of excitement for this car. And at the end of the day, I know what I want in my head, and as I said in the last video, the channel does need to take a new approach. So I am going to take this for a drive and I'm going to enjoy it, because it would be silly not to. But it is going to go up for sale, because I know what I want to do with the channel, and having cars like this sat around, you know, it doesn't help the channel in any way. So this is going to be the final thing we need to do before we can do that, before we can MOT it, drive it, and unfortunately sell it. A bulb. They've got a tail light out, and this is the last thing that the 190 needs to do. It's been an incredible journey. I've learned a hell of a lot, but it's time to enjoy something and move on. At the end of the day, the channel doesn't grow with cars just sat there. The channel grows by buying new things and learning new things, and I know what I want to buy, and selling this will give me enough money to buy one of those. So unfortunately, we're going to send off the 190 on its final job after years of hard work with a bulb. And the steering is fixed. Got no knocks now on the steering. She's great. The tracking is out a little bit because it's wanting to pull to the right, and it is pulling to the right. So the tracking's out a little bit. We need to redo the tracking. I mean, that's obvious because we just changed the track rod. Normally you can count the turns and you know, try to put the track rod in pretty much the same position, which obviously works to an extent, but he's never going to get it perfect again, and we couldn't count the trap rods because it took me an hour to get the damn thing out. I don't know where I'm going here. And here we go, everybody. After probably a couple years, but it feels like a lifetime, we are entering the public road in the 190e for the first ever time. Oh, here we go. We are driving to the MOT station in the 190. This is the first time we've probably like really gone through the gears and anything, to be fair. The tracking is really out because obviously I've just put that track rod end on. We had to get it, I just want to get it in MOT and we can sort of track it out after. So we're on the main road. I'm absolutely terrified. I'm not gonna lie. I'm hoping I've done everything correctly and everything works. The main thing is, I hope, which I'm actually kind of glad that it's so cold today, the main thing is I hope it just doesn't overheat. A few people have said the radiator probably will be fine, but then a few people have said that they don't know if this radiator is going to be up to the task, you know. I think it will be. I just think obviously if you're tracking it all day every day, then it might get a little bit hot, but I don't, you know, that isn't what this car's going to be doing. I don't even know where I'm going. But yeah, this car is definitely not going to be, you know, being tracked all day, every day. It's definitely not that. It's a cruiser. It's a comfortable cruiser, which now sounds cool. So we've got a supercharger, boy. Should have enough fuel to get there. It actually feels good. So after sitting around and just looking at this car for over 2 years, just being in the driver's seat and actually driving it is an absolute experience. I'm still obviously a little bit worried because it's not got an MOT, so I potentially might have forgotten a bolt or not tightened the bolt, so I'm definitely taking it easy, but it's still fun nonetheless. So she is driving amazing. We're sat pretty much bang on temperature. Feels great. Obviously the tracking's all over the place, but it doesn't drive that bad considering. I'm gonna sit, have we got Bluetooth in here? Aux, radio, CD. Oh shit, what CD's in here? Is there a CD in here? Oh! I Love Garage, Ministry of Sound. What is done for me? And while there was a very nervous wait while it's at the MOT station, I thought we'll go and sit in Starbucks and shit our pants for the whole time. Passed! Yeah, she passed. Not with flying colours. So she got 5 advisories, but she did pass. She got 2 advisories for 2 dust covers on the ball joints, and there was 2 advisories for a couple of hard lines for the brakes that were starting to show some rust. But she's got an MOT. She's actually driving on the road, so I think it's about time we hear that supercharger, don't you? Now we've got an MOT, now we know it's safe and it's not going to fall apart, we can actually put our foot down a little bit and hear that supercharger. I've been wanting to hear it, I've no doubt you've been wanting to hear it as well, so... Right, second gear pull. Woo! Smashing the limiter, boy! It's driving all over the place. I need to sort that tracking out. Now with it MOT'd and driving, the final thing to do is send this car off with pride. We want to look at it and go, yes, well done, we've done a good job. I want to be proud looking at this car, and right now I'm not. The wheels are horrendously dirty and full of corrosion, and the paint itself on the car is ruined from where it's been sat for so long. So first of all, we need to sort the wheels out. Now I did try to put some different 18-inch wheels on there, and they just didn't really fit. So trying to find a nice set of wheels which I liked was really hard, and I actually do like the wheels on there. They're just in terrible condition. So we're going to get them off, and we're going to get them professionally done. So they're quite bad, are they?
You're lovely, just the way I like them. Yeah.
I said to him, look, if it's too big of a job, I'll go and buy. And he's like, no, we like it. We like it.
I like a bit of a job, but this one fully corroded, you can see.
Yeah.
It's going all the way through as well. So yeah, so that's gonna need some skilled work from your man right here.
That's why we come here.
And we're gonna make this pucker.
So I'm thinking if we could, I mean, I've only just, it's that corroded, I didn't even realise this was chrome. I didn't just until now, I was like, but I mean,
maybe it's chrome, maybe it's hand polished. It's quite hard to tell at the moment with the way it is.
But I probably would like them like silver, just silver, because the car's black and it's a classic car. Just
we can almost try and do like a really hyper silver if you want, like a really shiny silver. We can go with something like that. We can even go with pink.
No.
Yeah, no, all right, okay. Let's just stick to the silver then. Yeah. So literally, quite a bit of work on this, but I'm gonna quite enjoy this. But on the silver, all the corrosion and the pitting you're gonna see a mile away. So that's why the prep work on this has to be absolutely pucker. Black will almost.
I was gonna say, what colour hides the black hides it the most?
Black will hide it. I mean, for example, that Prius there that was so badly corroded, that all the wheels were leaking air. So he didn't have a choice but to go for the black, but we had an offer on the black, so he's like, I'm gonna go for the black glove because that's the cheapest. But with this one being silver, and especially being a hyper silver where it's really glossy silver, we have to be really certain that we sand this all the way down. We don't see no imperfections. Yeah. I thought the wheels were bad. Like this is, so what you done was he put the best wheel on the top so I don't see the whole thing. Yeah. All right. I know what he's done, but look, even the weights are rusted.
Clearly not on this one. Oh no.
Wow. I should have wore gloves, but look at that.
Got some here.
Oh, wicked. Looking forward to this job, right?
Now, Alloy Fix are absolute giants of their industry, and if you've not heard of them, I'll be absolutely shocked. I've actually used Alloy Fix for many years, and their work is absolutely phenomenal, and you've probably seen them on other YouTubers' channels as well, including Matt Armstrong.
You forgot to mention what's up with the face of it. Is a chunk on it missing?
Yeah, I forgot about that.
They do absolutely everything here, from powder coating, wheel buckle fixing, re-welding wheels, classic car wheels, and diamond cut wheels. Just take a look at the reviews that these guys got, and they are honestly incredible.
So the first wheel come out nice and straight. The caps are pretty much stuck in there. I don't know if you want to put this on camera or not, but this ain't coming off. Who's got the hammer? So right now we're just checking if the wheels are spinning true, or somebody hit a pothole or even a curb. Is the wheels bent? So that's what we're checking for at the moment. Once we've acid-dipped it, we'll be able to see if there's any other imperfection like cracks on it or anything like that. So far I can't see it. The tires are pretty much gone.
Yeah, I need to change them.
Yeah.
That's why I said I don't need them back on the wheel.
Yeah, that's why we're not going to put the tires back. But so we spin it up and we check if there's any. No, that's spinning nice. No problem there. That's 2 out of 2 that are nice and straight.
Yeah, we're getting there.
We are.
Now, I actually had to go away on a rally, so I couldn't stay around and film much of the process, but Alloy Fix have done a full YouTube video, start to finish, of fixing my wheels. But we're going to come back with them when they're finished and check up and see how hard they actually were to do. But while we're waiting for the wheels, we have something incredibly important to do to the 190. Now, since I've owned this car, which has been around 2 years, I've never actually cleaned it, and it spent most of that time being sat outside. And I have no idea when it was last cleaned before I even bought it. But you can see how bad of a condition it's in right now. So we've got Scott down to give it a full clean and whatever it needs after that. So the first part of the car he attacks is the wheel arches. First of all, he uses a turbo nozzle to remove most of the dirt, and then he goes on using a brush and foam. After doing all 4 corners of the wheel arches, he takes his attention to the rubbers on the car, specifically around the boot, where a lot of the dirt is actually being held by the rubber. Now, the first thing he does on the vehicle is he actually applies a full layer of pre-wash. Now he applies a full layer of snow foam on top of the pre-wash to stop it drying, therefore it can soak into the paint properly. And once that's washed off, he starts attacking the intricate areas of the vehicle. And then it's time for a general wash of the paintwork, and once this is dry, we're going to assess how bad the paint actually is. Now after this, he sprays the whole car in fallout remover, and he actually uses his hands to physically feel how bad the paint is and if there's any panels worse than the others. And he does this over the whole car. Now after doing one final wash, he uses a special product to actually bring the shininess back to the badges, and I can't believe how well this actually worked. Now as the car starts to dry, you can see how bad the paint actually is, so it's getting more and more likely it's going to have a full paint correction. So the first thing Scott wants to do is just clay the whole car. And the more we do, the more it's very obvious that this is definitely going to need a cut and a polish. Look how bad and faded the paint is. So Scott wants to test how bad it actually is, and he actually polishes one panel with his DA to see how good it will come out.
Look at that. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get that on camera. And that's just with one
Just one sweep with this hybrid compound. So
Right.
cutting and finishing polish.
Oh yeah. So it literally just needs so that'll just be in the top layer of lacquer, and
Yeah,
it's
so
just
literally all this is just where it's been oxidised.
right.
So from the weather, from where it's just been sat. So yeah, it literally
Look at
takes
that,
it.
looks amazing.
Yeah. Obviously you might still have a few little marks here and there.
Yeah.
Obviously you're not really refining it.
Yeah.
You're literally just getting rid of that oxidisation. It's crazy.
So we left Scott for a few hours to put his headphones in and just do the whole car cutting and finishing. And this is what I walked out to. Now I can't believe how good that looks, but we've still got one more thing left to do. So it's been a few days since we've dropped off the wheels for the Merc and we're back down at Alloy Fix and we're going to pick them up, and I'm super excited, and even more so super excited. Let me just turn this lighting up. That's the wrong way. There we go. That's a bit better. Is it actually working? No, it's doing fuck all. Great. Let's just go in and let's get the wheels. And oh my god, I'm so excited because they were so bad. How bad were they to do?
Let's just say I had to sand them a couple of times,
Yeah.
and then we had to powder it and sand it down. So use powder as a filler, because obviously we don't want to use filler on your wheels. They were corroded. And then powder them again, and they've come out quite nice.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh my
Literally,
god, look
we've
at them.
taken years off of it.
Yeah.
So
Literally. Oh my god,
look at
that
the light,
looks so good.
and even look at the back as well.
Wow.
Yeah. All the corrosion's gone.
Oh
And-
my god, that is insane. They look like an Enki RPF 1.
Yep.
Wow. That is honestly so sick. Do you know how bad they were?
Ah, they've come out quite good. I'm pleased.
I can't put them shit tyres back on, can I?
I don't recommend putting them tires on at all. Get some new ones.
And this just proves why I come to these guys. I can sit here all day and tell you how good they are, but I'm hoping that these 4 shots right here will just explain how good these guys are at what they do. These wheels look absolutely amazing, and I'm actually really glad I've kept them and I didn't go with a different wheel. Thank you, Alloy Fix. I'm buzzing to get them on.
So when you sandblasted it, it was like fully...
It was fully pitted. The inside of the wheel, the inside of the drum, which I tried to show you earlier, all of this was fully pitted. Really, really badly as well. Which you'll be able to see on our video.
Yeah.
So make sure you go on it and watch it. It was fully pitted, so quite hard to work with.
God, it was so good
But,
on camera. Yeah.
but I had to do some magic to it. So I was there for quite a few nights actually.
Oh shit, I'm
Yeah.
so... no.
All right.
Oh no.
Yeah. Am I even allowed to say this? It was me and my right hand. Do you know what? It was a pleasure doing them. I really, really enjoyed doing these wheels. Really enjoyed them. And the light, the way it reflects the light now is just,
It
oh.
actually looks like a nice wheel. Like...
It actually is a nice one.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you brought it over.
So we got a set here of Ditch Finder 195 5515s. I could dunk them in me a cup of tea, look at them. Little digestive wheels. Thank you DGT tyres, you help me out all the time. So annoyingly, I can't put the tyres on because this is a weird tyre valve. If I get a normal tyre valve, you'll see it's way too big. And I remember when Alloy Fix had taken them off, they were saying that these are bolt-in. So I'm gonna have to try and find a bolt-in tyre valve for that, which makes this whole process really annoying, and it's still not gonna be done today. I keep getting pushbacks on this car and it's so frustrating.
Now, after driving the 190e the other day, I actually switched the lights on and I realised that none of the interior dashboard lights were actually working, so we need to fix it. First of all, I'm going to see if I can actually just pull it out, and it looks like it's just popped in. Now the speedo cable is literally screwed into the back of the cluster, and you have to remove that before you can pull it out. Now I genuinely thought there was a bigger electrical issue, and Steve from inside the garage said just try 2 new bulbs. So we tried 2 new bulbs and...
Positive mental attitude. Let's get back in. Yeah, it's working. Yay. Nice. Very cool, very nice. I like it.
So, after a lot of faffing around, I actually went down to Alloy Fix, and luckily they kept the old tyre valves. So these are bolt-in tyre valves, and I've never seen these before on any kind of wheel. I'm pretty sure they're quite popular on like BBSs and stuff. So we've got the old tyre valves. All we needed to do was just change the seals. Now, luckily, they're literally just O-rings. So we've got a box of O-rings here. I've kept some of them because some of them are in good shape, but some needed changing. So we've got the tyre valve here, and we've got the O-ring. So we can finally put the tyre valves in, bolt them down, put the wheels on the damn car, and then we can actually finish the fucking 190E. Can you believe it? Now, I hate changing tyres, because I have to do it so much on the drift car, but on the drift car I never actually have to balance them. So this is the first time I've actually ever have to balance a wheel. I almost put them on the car and I was like, oh wait, I've actually got to balance them. And with that, I can finally put the wheels on the 190E. The final finishing touch. Over 2 years has come to this moment, and I would be lying if I said I wasn't fucking glad. Made it. We absolutely made it. I didn't honestly think we would ever do it, and editing this video has made me feel a little bit sad with the music that I've been doing and everything, and I think I will probably regret selling this car one day, because they're an absolute classic, and every single person that comes into the unit and sees it outside just basically said how cool of a car it is. Even my friend Nicky's like, oh my god, I want to buy it off you, I want to buy it off you. So we're going to go for one final drive and just enjoy the 190E for one final time before it goes on to its new owner and I move on to something else. But let's go and have some fun. And just like that, over 2 years of hard work comes to an end. You can look at this car on paper and some people will think, what was the point? It's got 200 horsepower and it's slower than most things on the road. Sadly, I see this topic of conversation far too often, and I attribute the decline of the car scene down to this reason. I never care about the speed of a car. How it feels to reminisce about the past and the memories that these machines carry will always outweigh a 0 to 60 time. So I urge people to take on these projects, even if it seems like a waste of time, but be unique while we still have the opportunity to be.